Hey everyone, I think tonight going to talk about some of the downloads that I've got, like my experience with downloads. Just like bulk information kind of explosion in your head all of a sudden. If you know, you know. So basically today I've been thinking about the links between everything, the messages from beyond and the links with everything, how everything is linked. And basically this is the kind of download that I received. I guess in the last few years, I guess, of my search for wisdom and understanding, I've come across a lot of different people talking about their download experiences and what they can now do. It's almost like a gift download plus information download. It's so much, it's quite complicated, but you may be aware of there's a lot of different people out there in this kind of field now that talk about the downloads they've experienced and just this bulk information that they've just received and have had to give out. And some of them have, like, for example, like the ones that come to mind are like Robert Grant with his maths and codes. Who else? Off the top of my head, I know there's been lots like the Gene Keys. Like some people have just like been downloaded a book and they've literally had to write this book out. Like this book has just come through them. The other day I was listening to something about you know, the author of Harry Potter, how literally it came through her and she just wrote it out. Yeah, so it can come through us as individuals in so many different ways. These downloads, whatever you want to call it, like inspirational ideas, downloads of information, just like your brain, you're able to do and see new things, and it's like it can't stay inside. It's literally like it's given to you to get out there. And I think this is what has got me to the point where I am to be here, like right now, just like on a daily basis. It's like, what am I getting out there today? This is the sort of stuff that it's never kind of been a thing with me before, but it's like this information is coming to me and it's the instinct. It's almost this freaking unstoppable drive that I'm to give it in any way that I can, as well. Like it's like for me and my growth, but it also is for me to give and understand, to become more, you know, me and everything. But it's also to come through me. And so, okay, so I want to talk about it in so many different ways right now. And this in itself is the multi-dimensionality of everything. So we'll see where this goes, because this is what my mind does right now. Like, one idea can go in infinite directions. A thought, can lead you in infinite directions, like choose your own adventure. Everything can go in so many directions, and this is what my brain does now. And it is quite full on, but also amazing. I mean, I guess in a way, I know my brain was always like that, and this is why I've always been a bit different, and I now know very much on the spectrum, and that there is a lot of gifts available to people on the spectrum, and it comes out in many different ways. So, like, that's another pathway, right? And I would love to talk about that, but I'm not going to talk about that tonight. See how, like, I could go that way and I could talk about that for hours, but tonight I was going to talk about my experience with the insane kind of this download that I got, which completely blew my mind, changed my life, and continues to do so on a daily basis. So basically, alright, so one pathway that I could go down right now is what I think led me to my download at that time. But basically, I think my frequency had something to do with it, which drugs had some part in that. So my brain state and my brain frequency at the time to tap into this download, one pathway of that, I believe, were the drugs, were the recipe of drugs that I was on at that time. Another pathway, I think the reason why my frequency was high enough to receive this download was love. And another pathway of my frequency being right at the time was because I was pretty much I had healed myself enough. I had got to this point where I was self-empowered enough, right? So there's the personal frequency that I was on. There was my partner was with me at the time. We were so we were literally in the shower together. So you can imagine I was in an extremely loving place within myself, and also with my partner, and I was high. I was extremely freaking frequency happy and full. Like, my frequency, I don't know if it could get any higher than that. I had all the parts. I was feeling great, and it was authentic great. I know, alright, so I'm just going to say a little bit about the drugs. I know a lot of people have attitudes towards drugs, preconceived notions, a lot of, baggage when it comes to that. I've healed that with myself. So when I have drugs, I have it in a way that that is fully to expand myself, and I always, when I have it, I'm going into it fully conscious, aware of why I'm having it and what I want to get out of it. And so, you know, like the set and setting is always a thing for me. I am always consciously bringing it in as a bonus into my life. It's not I'm trying to get away from my life type thing. That's just on a side note, because I know a lot of people have varying opinions and some strong opinions when it comes to drugs. So that's just a side note, just in case someone's just saying, that doesn't sound right. For me, look at it, more of it like a shaman using drugs in order to expand their mind, to connect. That's how I use drugs all the time. I'm consciously aware of what that drug can do for me and how I can use it as a tool. It's not an escape mechanism or anything like that. So that's my mindset. So that's my mindset with the drugs. That's my mindset like with myself and my partner and in water. And I think the water has been an aspect with all my biggest connections and downloads, whether it's like an electrical conduit, or I just have like an affinity with water and it relaxes me and puts me in an energetic state where I'm more relaxed and connected. Either way, it's like frequency based. So yeah, so that's the setup. And so it's not just one thing. It didn't just happen out of nowhere. I believe it happened because of multiple things, and it was just perfect timing. So at this point, fully loved up with everything. I'm feeling really me and connected and frequency high. I can't explain it anymore. That's it. And in the shower, it was so weird. It was just like all of a sudden, and it's just like I just knew everything was a metaphor. Literally, I can look at everything and understand the metaphor or create a metaphor for anything, or mainly the one thing, which is the connection to everything, how everything is connected, and it all leads back to the one. Absolutely crazy, and my partner thought I was crazy because I immediately started everything's a metaphor, and you know, the freaking, like, my brain was literally going years in advance. It was like I was like time jumping, because I could see the pathway of me knowing this, what I'd be doing with this information. And it was like it's so weird and so hard to explain. It was like I was seeing everything in the future, and I was trying to explain it to him, and he's a little bit high, and I'm sounding like a complete crazy person, and he probably just wants to, you know, start getting it on. And I'm like, there's so much fucking information in my head, and literally for the next like probably 4 or 5 hours, I was writing out the craziest freaking shit. I couldn't get it out of my mind fast enough, and I've still got the notes from when I was writing all that out, and I can barely make sense of it now. But, you know, completely at the time it made sense to me. You know, it does kind of, but it was literally like, it's just this information coming through. And it literally was coming in so fast, I could not get it out as fast as it was coming in. And that's why I think people call it getting a download, because it's literally like, and you know, for example, I would have a thought about something, and I'd be thinking about it, and I'd be flowing with that thought, and I'd be so consciously aware of what that thought pattern was doing, and then I'd be realizing that it was coming around full circle. It's just like my awareness of my consciousness just went next level. So it's like I'm always outside my consciousness now, or something, or can be. And I know this probably doesn't even make any sense. And it's the first time I've tried to actually explain it. Because like each time I try and talk about this with anyone, they look at me like I'm a fucking crazy person. So I haven't actually talked about it with anyone. Not really in depth, tried to fully explain it. But anyway, so basically tonight, I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway, tonight I wanted to give just like some examples of like what the links that my brain sees everywhere, and how it's almost like I just see how it's like the universe leading me to these links. Like it's literally like they open the curtains, but they're also showing me that it's them opening the curtains. If you could understand that, in order for me to see clearer. So I'm like seeing clearer, but I'm also seeing that it's that bigger picture opening the curtains, and that it's them opening every curtain everywhere. And it's them shining the light on literally everything. Okay, that maybe not makes sense to anyone. This is why it's so hard to explain. Basically, I see that everything is linked. Everything is connected. Alright, so very small example. So today I've been thinking about tarot cards. So I don't know all the rules with the tarot cards, right? But tarot cards are the same as playing cards. You got your 4 suits with both. You could use playing cards to read your tarot, for example. So then there's the games. There's playing cards. If anyone is interested and knows everything about poker, for example, you could try and figure out the link between each hand and the points or whatever and relate it to tarot and the meanings of, and you would work out something. I haven't done it because I see the things and I it's like I see everything, but I am not the one to go deep into any of it. So if I say anything to anyone out there who wants to freaking delve deep and break these codes, and the links in between and figure it out, go for it. So playing cards, poker, blackjack, related to tarot. I know it's already been linked. It is a thing already, right? So this is just one example. But who's to say that there is some serious links in there and connections that no one's figured out yet? The rules. You gotta look at the rules, right? And the way and the different games in those cards that have been developed. Alright, before my mind goes anywhere else, what else was it? Okay, Ace of Spades. So the Ace of Spades in the playing cards, it's the only ace in the deck that is special. This is also a thing and it's been looked at, but this has been a sign and a signal that keeps coming in me, and this is why I'm talking about this tonight, because Ace of Spades keeps coming back to me and telling me to talk about it and figure it out. It's got the fleur-de-lis in it. It's the only ace in the deck that is different, pretty patterned. It's like it's a sign to look into it, the design of it. There's this Doors song, or one of Jim Morrison's poem, that mentions this. Is the poem is coming of age, and like I think it's the last line, I think, is spades dance best, from the hip. So this is another link, which I'm the biggest Jim Morrison fan, Doors fan, and Jim Morrison's poetry is like, he's like an oracle. His poetry is very much tapped in, but it is very not obvious. It's as a neurodivergent, someone that has started writing poetry that is extremely a little bit sideways, but I know that there's massive links with spirituality and connecting to the lake, the ethers, the all. I can completely relate to Jim Morrison's poetry, and that line in his poem Spades Dance Best has been freaking chasing me for the past year, and today's the day that I actually looked at the playing cards. I related it, to the tarot, and I actually kind of checked out which suit matches which tarot to playing cards. And like, for example, with the tarot, each suit is related to a direction of the compass, a color. It's related to a chakra. It's related to freaking so much, and you can do the same with the playing cards. The designs of each suit, like for example the design on the Queen, the King, and the Jack, and the Joker's roll, which by the way is like the Fool, so they're all freaking related, right? So you'd look at all the designs on these, the royal in the playing cards, and get the symbols of their decorations of their clothes, sense. Like just the fact that the, you know, the fleur-de-lis on the spades, like the Queen of Spades kind of suit, it says so much. There's so many meanings hidden in these things, and this is what I'm saying. So the tarot in itself is pretty obvious that it's all about the meanings and they relate it to everything, right? But I want to talk about the stuff that it's not obvious, but there's hidden meanings in all of it that, you know, we're kind of figuring out now. So there's the playing cards, the rules, and the hidden designs and everything like that. There is, what else? So I'm pretty sure darts keeps coming in, like the bullseye. You know, the hidden meanings and everything might not be obvious right now, but if anyone wants to investigate, I have this knowing that there is a fucking connection. So the way these games have been designed and the rules and everything, there are hidden meanings within them, and I'm absolutely sure of that, even though I can't tell you right now. So even for example, the word, the bullseye as getting dead center, how the rings of the target and what those rings symbolize in so many symbols in history and what their meanings are. There is in pool, snooker, billiards, you know, they even can talk about like the triangle, the ball set up as a pyramid, and for example in snooker you've got the 7 different colors, which is like the chakras. I'm just saying, even the way they set it up, you know, like the 8 balls in the middle, which is infinity, which, you know, magic 8 ball, there's just links everywhere. And what else? I know there's links with baseball rules, like I don't even know all the rules, I just know there's links, like the number of innings and the number of outs, like threes are just insanely everywhere, 3 strikes, 3 out, you know, 3 outs, 3 bases, freaking home run, the rules, even the way it's all like set up. All these things have been intuitively given to people to create, even if they weren't aware of it, that they were given to people in order for people to kind of put 2 and 2 together eventually and put it all together. So if anyone knows rules in and out of these games that they can then relate to the rules of mathematics or universe or chakra and the way so many other things work, you know, like even with cricket, there's, you know, there's the 3 wickets, and there is a hat trick, which is, you know, getting 3 out in a row. I'm just trying to think of off the top of my head, because these aren't my specialties, but what I know and what I have been given is that there is a link there, there is a link there, there is a link there. Like I've kind of been given this, like, I guess, radar of where you can find links with things, but I can't seem to make myself really go into it to figure out. That's not my area, but I have been given the ability to, like, see where these links are. And that in itself, God, I probably sound completely crazy, but I'm just gonna put this out there, right? Okay, so then you go into, so the sports, right? So any sport person out there, if you're freaking, like, fully into both these areas, like, you know a sport or you know something really well, but you're also into this other area that I'm talking about, like the spirituality and universal laws and stuff like that, compare the two and see what freaking, like, look into it. It's like, could it be a metaphor for something else? That's all I'm saying. Like, look into it. Yeah, because I can see it in nursery rhymes. I can see it in books. I can see it in the myths and the legends. There, so many of these are metaphors to talk about completely, a lot of them are about the awakening journey and how you heal yourself and become enlightened, to be honest. You look at the story of Hercules, how many labors he had to overcome. Pretty much, he had to go through all the death of the ego. He had to come over all these challenges in order to become the man that he was. Like Osiris was chopped up into 14 pieces by his brother, and Isis put him back together. Isis went out there and put him back together, and, like, I listened to that story, and it was such, like, a metaphorically divine feminine, divine masculine story. Is that the divine feminine kind of leads the way, and he put himself back together by her being his guiding light or whatever. But the way they put these stories together and the myths and everything in order for people to remember them, how do you get a really important message across that's going to last for thousands of years? You've really got to make that story fucking interesting, or you've got to make that sport incredibly entertaining and wanting to keep playing it, like, moreish. You got to make it moreish. And for the people that came up with these ideas, that wrote them down or created these sports, or who wrote the book or created a movie, or, oh my god, like, probably even architecture. Obviously, like, the pyramids freaking have all that information held in there. But god, like, it's just like I see how these messages are put in everything that we do, and I see that they're done through creativity, and I see that the creative individual is an open conduit for these messages to come through, and it's creativity that solves these puzzles. So get creative. Creativity is the answer to so much. Like by exercising your creative mind, it brings something to yourself, but it also awakes your consciousness. And I think it first awakes you, and it makes you come alive. Like your creativity, your sacral and solar and heart. Like if you're putting your heart into your creativity, you've just awakened your soul. And if you're expressing that, then you've just gone next level. Like if you're feeling that creativity, expressing it, and then you're putting it out there, then you've like created the flow happening with the universe, and it's like you put it out there and then it comes back. And that's when it's like the universe creativity comes into you, and you get fucking like your version of the universe's, like your vibe of universe's creativity, and you've started the freaking river flowing through you, like creation's river flowing through you. Like you got to start it for yourself, but as soon as you move that and start getting it flowing within yourself, you've created the movement in order for it to come into you, and it's fucking waiting for you. It's like waiting to come into you. It's like a magnet. As soon as you push it, like and start getting it out there, it's like wow. And you know, the more you do it, the more the flow comes. It's literally like magnetic, energetic, electric, magnetic kind of that flow of creativity. And creativity is knowledge, it's creation, it's freaking, there is so much there, and your mind just expands, and it's amazing how you can see the miracle of what's been going on in the world. Like, I mean, I think everyone has it slightly different, right? Like, but with me, I can kind of see how everything fits together. I can see all the different puzzle pieces and how they kind of fit. I love puzzles, and maybe this is why it's kind of come through like this for me, because that is my kind of energy. And so yeah, for me, I see all the different puzzle pieces. I can kind of just like think about kind of anything, and like I can, you know how like I am really interested in the whole masculine feminine dynamic and relationships, and I'm really interested in healing the masculine feminine wound, and you know how much shockingly bad history we have there. In my journey, I've gone like all the way back to try and understand and understood like the process of how we've gotten to where we are and where we're going, like the cycles it all takes. So, and I'm going like this. It's just like looking really big picture at everything and looking how it all fits together. I may not be like what's the word? Like know everything about one topic. I like my thing is like looking at it all and seeing how it all fits together. Like I'm a big picture thinker, and more than happy to give ideas to the people that really want to dig deep in one or two things. Like I love looking big picture. Example, like, I don't know, like there's this show on Gaia with like Robert Grant. He does this show Codex, which is about all the nitty gritty details about the mathematics and codes written into the pyramids and stuff like that. So in one of these episodes in the King's Chamber of the pyramid, they found like these like kind of visions on the wall, like very recently discovered that there's these designs of a bull and like a cow within a bull or something like that. So, and apparently they've seen these now in a few different places. Like, what are these two bulls, or a bull and a cow, like a bull and a cow, like the cow's inside the bull? Like, it's kind of a weird picture to be, you know, embossed on the side of the wall type thing, and they don't know like what it is. And, you know, they're trying to interpret what these symbols and signs kind of are, and how did they put them in there, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, like, for example, the night that I watched that episode, I went outside and looked at the stars. The very night I watched that episode, I looked up at the stars and I saw the shape of a bull in the stars, and a cow inside that bull within the stars, right next to, I think it was like Scorpius, but to me it looks like a lotus blossom. So I'm looking up at the stars and I'm like, there's a lotus, and there's a bull within a bull within a bull, and then there's this lotus right there. And then you look at these Egyptian symbols and they've all got big lotus blossoms, and bulls are a major fucking part of it. And I'm like, you know, these symbols are constellations. Like the lotus represents Scorpius, and I've tried to work out what constellations these bulls are, because I don't think that the constellations that we've named anything, but the stars make the shape of this bull within a bull. And, you know, it makes sense that just because we have named the constellations a certain name and in certain areas, it doesn't mean that someone else who freaking made the pyramids or whatever knew the stars as something else and were leaving their mark in their way. And, you know, we've got to think about it in this way. And let's just say, I think the constellations and astrology and all the symbolism in relation to the constellations and the stars, for example, you look at it and the names don't match up with the shapes, and it's all, I mean, even, you know, the star signs and their names and the shapes and the meanings, I think they've all been made as like to hide hidden meanings and everything in there. Like, I know this, but I haven't, you know, fully worked it out yet. But like, I can see the signals saying, look here, because, you know, they don't fully match up, hey? And there's like, and the numbers, like, you know, there's 88 constellations, and oh god, I can't think of it now, so I probably sound crazy, but and the number 88, oh god, there's 88 something else, there's 88 symbols of something. can't think of it now, but there's all these different things that like link, you know, like, you know, for example, with this number 7 chakras, 7 colors, 7 archangels, you know, 7 seas, and you know, and then there's number 13, which has just freaking disappeared from the world. And we just don't take the time to think and double check these things. Like, we just kind of go about our lives too busy to freaking question what's going on and why. You know, for example, like October, it's the 10th month, but you know, Octo is 8, and you know, December, like Des is, you know, Des is like 10, whatever. Why is December the 12th month when it sounds like it should be the 10th? You know, and September should be the 7th. So, you know, why? Can someone that knows about these things please freaking investigate? Why? Doesn't make sense to me. There's got to be some kind of reason why they've put it like that. I mean, come on. We need to put our brains together and start piecing all these puzzles. You know what I mean? I think it probably sounds completely crazy, but if there's any other neurodivergent people out there that love a puzzle and are really knowledgeable about certain things within this, put your attention on it. Like, take the time to freaking, you know, look twice and have a think and a deeper think and a deeper think and open your mind type think. Because this is how they have put these pieces of the puzzle together, like with the pyramid and all the mathematical connections with that. What I'm saying is that these connections are in everything, even modern day music, like anything that any creative has ever created, which is everything out there that we read, watch, is made from a creative. It comes from the creator. And there are so many messages in there, and all it takes is us for us to look twice, look thrice, and think outside the box, because there is literally, you know, people are really interested in these ancient history, but to be honest, I'm seeing these messages freaking everywhere. So, you know, we've just got to think outside the box and realize that the messages have been coming through since the time of the pyramids, but they're still coming through, and that means that they're in all our music, they're in all our movies, they're in all the books that we read, they're in all the games that you play. They're literally everywhere. And so any of us can work out and connect these links and, you know, really start blowing everyone's minds with how it is all connected. It is all connected. All the puzzle pieces fit together. So, yeah, a little bit crazy, but I also absolutely notice that this is a thing, and we are literally given cat hair all over me. We're literally kind of, you know, whenever we're tapped in, we're receiving ideas and, you know, all these things from the all, and where you want to go with that, and why, and how we're all linked, and why we're all sharing all these connections to help everyone figure it out. You can go as deep as you want with that. Go for it. Yeah, because that's when you really kind of realize that we're literally all trying to wake each other up, and we're all in it together, and it's all coming from the same place, whatever that is, and we're all part of it. And it's crazy, man. Like crazy amazing. Crazy amazing when you start seeing all the signs, synchronicities, connections, messages. And it is the spark.